the chapter on the 45 Botswana bus crash victims is being closed in South Africa, with their remains being repatriated to their home country. The victims died when their bus plunged into a ravine at Mmamatlakala bridge outside Mokopane, that's in Limpopo. They were traveling to St Engenas ZCC in Moria outside Polokwane in the lead up to the Easter long weekend. SABC News Reporter Pimani Baloyi is watching developments and she joins us now live. It's certainly a very sobering and somber moment for these families. Pimani, take us through what's happening now.
Good morning, Ayanda. It is indeed a very somber moment. We are coming to you live, Ayanda, from the runway at the Gateway International Airport, where the bodies of the 45 are any moment from now expected to be driven on the runway and loaded into this military flight that you see behind me, where they will be flown right straight to Gaborone in Botswana. We understand that after they get to Botswana during the weekend, then the funeral services will continue. Currently, right now, and as you can see, there are members from the South African Council of Churches here in Botswana and pastors from the St Engenas Christian Church who are currently praying. There was just a short prayer service before the bodies can be driven into this military plane, and where they'll be loaded inside the plane and then flown out of South Africa. We've been told that this repatriation process will take about, from the program that was initially set, this flight was supposed to jet off here at this airport at around 10:30, and it was scheduled to land in Botswana, in Gaborone, Botswana, at around 11:30. I understand that program is running slightly behind, but it's going to be about an hour flight where the remains will be inside this flight. But there's a second flight that will be carrying the families of the deceased. That one that you see over there will be carrying the families of the deceased alongside the High Commissioner of Botswana, who's also accompanying, and other diplomats that are accompanying these families as this process has been taken. Earlier, we spoke to the MEC of Health in Limpopo. She spoke about how earlier, as they were giving updates from when that bus crash happened, they were giving updates and they were telling us this is a process that could take up to 6 months to ensure that everybody is identified through DNA sampling and other scientific processes. But it's a process that now it's just over a month. It's been finalized. All 45 deceased have been fully identified. They've been confirmed to be who they were. And as part of the church service that was held in the hall inside that this airport precinct, their names were given and how they were related to each other was also stated. And you'd see that most of the deceased were married couples, others were siblings, parents with their children, alongside, people who were married to each other, their in-laws, and people who were siblings that perished in this accident. So what we understand is that when they do get to Botswana later this afternoon, there will be funeral arrangements. And most of these people, we are told, they are from the same village in Botswana. So the funeral service will be a mass funeral service where families of everybody who's related to each other will be present to bid their final farewell. But one of the things that MEC Dr. Poppy Ramathuba told us earlier when we were speaking to her is that today's ceremony, today's prayer session is seen as South Africa's final funeral service. They're just bidding farewell to these 45 people that they've cared for, even though they had already passed on by the time they met them. But they ensured that South Africa's best resources are availed to ensure that Botswana gets closure as soon as possible, and ensuring that this process is as smooth as possible and ensuring that it's as quick as possible. But other things that the MEC mentioned during that prayer session was thanking direct, public servants that worked very hard, from your forensic pathologist, the head of that unit, your SAPS personnel who worked very hard to ensure that, number one, all the bodies are removed from the scene, but also they are speedily identified so that they can be repatriated. So Ayanda, today is the last day that Limpopo will be dealing with these people, because they will be departing back to Botswana, and we expect those funeral services to take place after this.